Welcome back, digital watch fans, to Vintage Digital Watches and to this repair video. And what we are repairing today is this all-famous Casio TC600 touchscreen watch. Now I'm repairing this for a friend and viewer, and normally I don't do repairs, but I don't own one of these, so I jumped at the opportunity to do a fix on video. This is not the first time I'm fixing something like this, so I do have some ideas what could be wrong with it. And in the video, I won't only talk about the repair of this watch, I will also talk about other possible faults that may lead to the all-common fault, a digit not working. So these come up on eBay fairly often, and they always almost have the same issue. One of the touch areas is not working. So in this particular case, 6 is not working. Now, before we start off with the repair, I'll do a very short talk of how this works. So basically it has three main components. It has the module, it has a touch screen here at the front. The LCD is actually a different screen in the back, and the touch screen is linked to the module via a zebra strip. So I don't know if you can make it out, but right there at the top is a zebra strip that takes the signals from the touch screen and feeds them to the module. So naturally, there are three places where this thing can break and end up with a fault of a digit not working. That is, it's either the touch screen, either an issue with the zebra strip, or either an issue with the module. Now, the issue that I encountered before was actually on the module. And yes, you may say that the module can have a number of issues, but I'll tell you this, there are very few issues with the module that can have an outcome of an area not working and all of the rest work. So first things first, I am going to show you that module issue that I've encountered before, and I actually suspect that that is the most common fault with these watches, and the repair is actually very easy to do. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate you how that all common module fault happens, and this is like the Data 2000 coil issue of the TC600, because it happens when you change a battery, and if you're not careful, you are going to damage the watch and end up with one of the areas or multiple areas not working. So they will try to close this clasp with their finger, and if it doesn't work, what they will do is take a screwdriver and press on the edge. They will have a slip, and then they will end up pressing on the module. And the thing is that there is a component behind the battery that is very important, and you will see, I will show you that component, and when they do that move, they will puncture it. And there it is. Now, this film conductor is that all-important component that I told you that if you're not careful during a battery change, you will end up puncturing it. And what this component does, the zebra strip that takes your finger input from the touch screen, will actually touch up in this area, and it will take that information and feed it to the module right here. So if you end up breaking one of these conductive patterns in this conductive film, then the area pertaining to that zebra strip connection will not work anymore. Easy enough? Yeah, I would say so. And the fix is actually very easy. You just have to scratch very carefully under a microscope the plastic off this film until you get to the copper. Do the same thing on the other side of the cut or puncture, and then just connect them with some conductive paste. Don't forget to cover them up with some non-conductive tape, just so you isolate the area. And that is the fix. But in this case, we have this intact. So what can it be? Now for the fun part. diagnosing which is the culprit. Is it the touch screen? Is it something up with the module? Is there something up with the zebra strip right here at the top? Well, we can validate if it's the touch screen or not by actually ruling it out. So there is a quick test that you can do with the module and see if the digit that is not working, you can actually generate it without the touch screen. So if you can generate that missing digit without the touch screen, then that means your issue is with the touch screen. So the test we can do is we'll try to generate the 6 by moving our tweezer up and down the zebra strip here. And that way we can generate that changing capacitance that the watch would get from the touch screen. Okay, so let's see. Get a 9, reset. Oh, and there we have a 6. So that means that if we can generate the 6 from the zebra strip, it means that we actually have a properly working watch module. And that means the issue is somewhere else. We've ruled out the module, and there you have your culprit, the touch screen. Now, if the touch screen is the culprit, the only thing we can do with it is in fact change it. And luckily, there is somebody on eBay who's selling original Casio spare ones. And the person I'm doing the fix for, he ordered one, but the guy sent him 2, which actually worries me a bit because it might mean that not all of his touch screens are working, and he's sending people 2 of them just in case one is not working, they would have a spare. The thing we have to do right now is fairly straightforward, change out the touch screen. Now, before we start this off, let's have a tiny talk about the tools. To change the crystal on any watch will require a press if you want to do a good job. But you can either use a press like this, which is actually built to close back covers on watches. And it's not very precise. These don't come with the right accessories for crystal replacement, in my opinion. What you would like to use is something like this, where you have a screw that controls the up and down, so you have a much more smooth control. And this comes with some accessories that are vinyl coated. So if you're changing a more sensitive crystal, like a thinner one, or in our case, one that contains conductive patterns, you would like to have this coating so the risk of damaging it is as small as possible. This is a more expensive one. It's a Burgeon tool. I built this back piece just so I can store everything, and this is what we're going to use to press out the old one and to press in the new one. Okay, so from the accessories bin, I found these 2 to fit properly, so this will sit in the lower part and will press from the top with this. That was easy. Always easy if you have the right tools. Okay, so like with most digital watches, the crystal is friction fit, which means you have a glass piece and then you have this gasket running around the edge that holds it in place. And the replacement ones came with a new gasket, so we'll also put in a new gasket. So it's finger gloves from this point forward, because we want to clean up the area where the gasket will sit. Also, we'll want to use some Rodico just to make sure we don't have any fibers there. So the first thing we'll do is set in the new gasket, and it just drops into place because the screen is going to be the thing that will expand it to the edges. Now I'll try to find a good angle for you guys to see the closing of the press. And that should be it. Okay, so one thing that I found off camera is that the new touch screen is a little thinner, or they're both thinner. So actually they sit below the level of this lip. I suppose that is just to have protection against dropping it face down. So what I have done is come with a smaller die and just press it in to make sure we have it set correctly on all edges. And this is how the final piece looks like. So you do see a little bit of recess. I measured the other touch screens and they're the same height, sort of the same weight, which means that the replacement ones aren't actually thinner, as I mentioned before, but they all sit beneath this lip, offering some protection. So right now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's assemble this thing and see if it worked. Cool, down in this light you can actually see the areas of touch. Let's case this in this and see if the darn thing is fixed. But before we do that, we want to make sure that this strip is absolutely clean. Okay, so Stefan, let's see if the 6 is working. Yes, and the 6 indeed is working, but let's try all the areas just to make sure we have a complete fix. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we are out of digits. 9.03 plus is working because you see that small line above the plus 2 times, yes, it's working, times 5 minus something plus, oh, did I say plus? Okay, 7 equals, and there are all the areas, they're working properly. But before you leave, do remember what I talked about in the beginning of the video. If you get one of these watches, don't go ahead and order one of these new touch screens. Check that film conductor and see if it's punctured, and you will spare yourself some money, because if that film is punctured and you replace the touch screen, you didn't do anything. So check that first. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!